I'm excited to be teaching you all just some kind of tips on how we can be healthy tech versus anti-tech. Digital wellness is the optimum state of health and well-being that each individual using technology is capable of achieving. And so this concept of digital flourishing essentially says, how can we enjoy everything that technology has to offer us and flourish online while avoiding some of the associated harms, being informed? While all of these are separate categories of wellness in their own way, it's also interesting to think about and acknowledge how this as a holistic model is really all interconnected. And so, for example, if someone says, hey Nina, I really want to reorganize my home office, it's not working for me, I can't focus. That might fall into the environment category, but we also need to look at, productivity. What do the interruptions look like in that environment? And so there are two kind of concrete tips I can give you right now. The first is this idea of a flexible routine. Letting kind of old norms go and updating in present time, what can we do to practice self-care to support our own happiness so that we're not filling from an empty cup? We're seeing also that you can, increase your connectedness with your coworkers by having not only a flexible routine, but also by learning how to write a communication charter. It's a helpful exercise to say, hey, what is your preferred method of communication? Because I'm on Instagram, Slack, G Hangouts, Clubhouse, and it's just so many different things. What do I check to connect with my people? And so that has to do with kind of technology mindfulness, how we can bring our intention to our attention and be very mindful about kind of being responsive versus reactive. Thank you so much. I hope everyone has a wonderful day.
So welcome. My name is Remy, and I'm going to share with you how to remaster your life. It's time right now to move forward, to make some changes. And if you are looking for signs, I'm a sign for you now, because the life purpose is to become the highest expression of yourself. And in order to do that, you need 3 keys. The first key is radical awareness. Are you truly alive? To bring the vitality back, you need an instrument, and it's radical awareness. The second key is emotional lighthouse. During the dark, you can see some light, and it can bring you this warm feeling and that you are moving somewhere. What is your true identity right now? If your mind is telling you, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a founder, etc. This is not deep answers. You don't need to find yourself. You need to decide who you want to become. Happiness and vitality, it's a new currency. Thank you so much.
Hello again, everyone. My name is Laura Whitney, and honestly, I am so incredibly grateful to be here. People have been suffering in silence for as long as the word loneliness has existed. It's just the first time that society is actually holding space for us to have a collective conversation about it. I want you to know that if you are feeling lonely, even if you're surrounded by others, that it's okay. You are not alone. All of us, no matter our backgrounds or life experiences, have 3 core needs in any relationship. We want to be accepted for who we are, we want to know that we matter, and we want to feel loved. How do we foster and create friendships where we feel accepted, valued, and loved? Mutual vulnerability creates the conditions for acceptance. Generosity and reciprocity creates the conditions for both people in the relationship to feel valued. And energy keeps the relationship growing. When these 4 elements are combined, they lead to the experience of feeling loved. And when you feel loved, your friendships feel meaningful and you feel less lonely. Have a beautiful day, everyone.
Great to see you. Yeah, well, today what Tom and I want to do is take you on a journey, a way to find hope and optimism and build your rope team when you're in your most difficult moments. It's a journey that Tom and I ourselves have taken and that we're going to challenge you to take as well. Between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space, we have a choice. And our choice is our freedom.
Dave and I have spent years teaching and writing about this concept of rope team, but now we were forced to live it. A framework for breaking one's barriers in life can be somewhat esoteric until adversity just smacks you right in the face and brings you to your knees. And that's where we were at. We decided to get together to take a break from our jobs and our families for a short period of time. And we learned to laugh again. Our healing was significant, and our rope grew super, super tight during that time.
The journey of 1,000 miles is a single step. It's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, over and over and over again. What we find is that in our darkest moments, when all hope seems to be lost, that there is still something inside of us. Every step you take matters, and it's the hardest steps that matter the most.
The single most important factor to help people break through their barriers is this: to have a purpose for your life that is greater than yourself.
So we'll finish here with reminding you all that we all have barriers in our lives, and we all have a choice to make about how we respond to those barriers.
Thank you.
Good.
Gracias por tenerme aquí hoy. Encantada de verlos. At some point in our lives, we've all been in places where we feel like we don't belong. The good news is that we have solutions that need to be implemented. And the first one, to me, is one of the most important ones, because sometimes we want the change to come from management or from the bottom, but it needs to come from the top. It needs to start at the CEO level, where the CEO sets the vision and everyone below follows that. We need to have equal pay assessments. We need to have training for unconscious bias. And what I see happening in a lot of companies is that this training happens once and then they forget about it, usually for new hires. But this is something that I would recommend doing every single year. Inclusion and belonging go together. You cannot separate them. What you need to know is that inclusion is the action part of it and belonging is the feeling. And so I think now, especially because we are virtual, we need to be more mindful about creating what's called psychological safety, so that we can allow people to be themselves, so that we can allow them to fail, so that we can allow them to make mistakes and ask questions. I have a huge superpower, and that's the fact that I can be vulnerable in front of anyone, especially my team. I mean, they could see right through me. And so I know that we are in the same storm, and you've probably heard other people say that, but we have different boats, and we need to acknowledge that. And so I'm mindful of my conversations and the things I share, because I know that not everyone will be able to relate to them. We have to be aware of the daily habits that we have created. This is a great reminder that I give myself and I want to give to you today. Belonging equals commitment. Thank you so much for your time. Gracias. Gracias.